They got that on video. Mr. Thompson goes through here. And this board will sit right there.
Apart Christmas took my spot. She just took
I don't know. She's scared. He brings it up.
Which is why I said, it was in, that's what I said, it's either where you start to sound off. Right, you go together. That's why I said, they're really confident.
Oh, you got.
It's like foreign to people. I don't get it.
You go too fast, huh?
We got two older brothers, so they go walk out. They don't want that.
And it's not your decision. Right. And it's not your decision to determine whether or not X information should be on. It just is. Good morning, lovely. How are you? People are tired of it.
It keeps it interesting.
Oh my gosh.
And they cut it and everything.
Wow, I had no idea. Oh my gosh. Hi. Thank you.
I have to give her double back.
Gotta go incognito.
I tell you, that's how quite the same home as
I couldn't help it. Couldn't help it. Economic development like this. I don't know why it's sexy to watch. Thank
Is it celebrated as that? Sorry, does the celebrate actually capture it all, or just doing something?
It's captured from the camera.
It's fast to do that.
Yep. It's the Adobe Premiere software.
Okay.
The real part. The full. The expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, see for renting it for ridiculous prices.
I didn't mean to disregard you sitting there. I apologize.
No, it's cool.
We're going to call the meeting back to order now and move into our project updates.
At this time, we'd like to make a presentation to you regarding Innovation Place, and I've asked Sarah and Autumn to come forward to provide some enlightenment related to what we intend to do with this facility.
Good morning. Good morning. Well, we are very excited to bring this presentation to you today. We appreciate your time and effort that this board has spent on this incubator concept. So, without further ado, I would like to announce that the official name of Hardee County's first incubator accelerator is Innovation Place, with the tagline of where businesses come to grow. This morning we would just like to talk to you a little bit about the incubator, about Innovation Place, what it has to offer, kind of the goals and objectives of the incubator, and just give you a little bit better feel of what we've been doing over the last several months, putting this concept into place and bringing it to a reality. So the goal of a business incubator or accelerator is to nurture the development of entrepreneurial companies focusing on creating jobs and retaining business. Now we see that this could be done with 4 key points. You need to be able to execute a real working document of a business plan that is sustainable. You have to be adaptable in your manufacturing side, being able to handle small runs as opposed to only being able to handle large volumes. You have to be able to recruit your talent within that incubator. And you also have to have the ability, the background, and the will to take that product into the marketplace and make that product a profitable, viable business for someone. So Innovation Place has adopted a mission statement, and that reads, to assist the EDC in creating sustainable employment opportunities by assisting with small business development within the county's rural communities. Our goal is to provide an environment for entrepreneurs to grow their ideas and fulfill their objectives. That's a lot, but that's what economic development is, as you all know. And so with Innovation Place, we've kind of taken our economic development efforts within Hardy County to a different level. We've never embarked on something like this before, but we have seen a real need for it, a real desire for it. And I personally think, from working over the last several months with Autumn and Bill and other staff, that we're going to have people clamoring to get into the doors of this place. And I think that speaks a lot for economic development here within Hardy County. We have so many entrepreneurs within our community that have an idea, have a concept, they may even already have a product, but they lack the ability, they lack the capital, they lack the infrastructure to take that product and idea to the next level and create a sustainable, profitable business within our community. So that is truly the mission of Innovation Place. Go back one slide, sorry. So within the facility that we have created, we will have an adaptable cosmetic fill line. We have 38,000 square feet in Innovation Place, which allows us to amply satisfy the needs of tenants that are looking to come into this facility. We have a business manager that's in place that has the background and the ability to take these companies, find out their needs, look at their products, and determine what they need in order to put that business into place, get that product into the marketplace, and again, become a profitable company. We also have marketing assistance, financial assistance. When I say financial assistance, I mean anything from assisting them in the grant process to also teaching them and training them and their staff how to inventory their product, how to put their finance and their business plan into place, whether they're using QuickBooks or some other form of finance software. We will offer that training and assistance to make sure that they have all of the training needs that they require in order to do that on their own once they leave the incubator and are required to do that by themselves. So what does Innovation Place have to offer? Again, we have a fill line that can run various size of runs. We have the ability to do soap production. There are kettles and mixing tanks on site. There is a hot process available. And we also offer custom in-house label printing for that company's product. So they don't have to go outside of Innovation Place to do that, which also comes with logo assistance, design, really taking their printing needs from start to finish. And then Tech River. A lot of you may or may not think of Tech River as being a part of the incubator concept, but we see it as a very big part. Where Innovation Place focuses more on the manufacturing side with the fill line capabilities, Tech River can offer those tenants the space they need to do the business side. We have meeting rooms, conference rooms, we have broadband within the facility. So we see Tech River becoming a sister property to the incubator, that those tenants can really kind of marry both their business and manufacturing sides by utilizing both facilities. Innovation Place will be offering sales and marketing resources. The business manager and other staff in place have the background to assist these companies in those areas. We will have a business mentorship and tenant advisory board that those tenants will be able to go before and utilize and meet with to basically use as a sounding board and as an advisory board. We have network opportunities that will continue to grow as Innovation Place grows. As the tenants become larger in volumes, we see them becoming an entire network of their own, that they will be able to share ideas with one another. Their products may not be the same, but the overall goal and concepts of those tenants is the same. And so the networking probably will become even larger than some of the resources that we're offering in the incubator. When you have a fellow partner that is in the same industry as you, may not be the same product, but you're in the same line, and you're able to go to them and, you know, throw ideas at them. I think we've seen in our work with Tech River, when we have been talking about these networking opportunities and some of these startup nights that they hold, that the opportunities that come out of those meetings actually begin to form new companies within those meetings. So that's a really cool concept. We have again, the marketing and sales strategy, and then we also have the ability to use our local talent and recruit them into the facility for training and for staff needs. And so we will put a big emphasis on that, locally searching for those talented people that we can bring in and train to become a part of Innovation Place. This is a list of our current advisors and staff. Kristen Giuliani, she is going to be the interim incubator manager. Most of you, I believe, have had a chance to listen to Kristen speak, have met her on occasion. She has an extensive background that makes her more than capable of taking on this task, and we're very glad to have her on. Jim Stein, he is going to be our facilities manager. You have heard him speak at our meetings before when we've asked for updates on the facility. David Knoll, most of you know, he is going to be the business advisor, and he is with the Small Business Development Center. We utilize him quite a bit within our office on a regular basis for clients, and we value his opinion. Autumn Blum is going to be an advisor and tenant. She's sitting with me today. Again, Autumn has an extensive background in this area. She's already taken a company, built it from the start, sold that company, is now venturing out on additional companies, and we're so excited to have her.
Can I jump in for just a second there?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I've had quite a few people ask, what is my involvement in the incubator itself? They've asked, I've spent the last few weeks working on creating the standard operating procedures, working on the policies and procedures, working with Kristen, coming up with some pricing structures and schedules. And why? Why am I doing that? I'm not paid by the incubator. I'm not intending to submit an invoice for my time. I have a vested interest in seeing this succeed. Sarah had mentioned that if she were in my shoes, she might get up and leave. I'm a part of this community. This is my home. I relocated here after I was recruited here. I love it here. I have no intention of leaving. And if I can help this community grow, that's my goal. Obviously, I want to grow my company. I'm an entrepreneur. That's what I do. Starting my new company, I would have to, if this incubator wasn't here, I would have to be looking elsewhere. And the only other place that I've found that can do what we're doing is in Kentucky. There's a little place called Royal Labs there that does something somewhat similar, but it's not community-based. But it'll do small-scale stuff, contract manufacturing and such. I don't really like the owners. I don't think they're that ethical. And I'd rather not do something like that. This is a really exciting opportunity, and I want to see it succeed. So with my background and my experience, I think I'm pretty well qualified to help create these standard operating procedures and get this FDA-registered facility up and running. If there was somebody else here that wanted to take on the job, I'd be delighted to let them. But I don't really think there's anybody else around here that's more qualified than I am to get this to the point that it's up and running. I'm also working with Jim, who is very, very capable of running the operational side. He doesn't have the cosmetic manufacturing experience, but by the time that I step away to do more of my management side of my company, he will. He's solid, and I think he'll be just fine. But that's really my involvement at this point, and I just wanted to throw that out there. It's my honor, by the way.
Thank you. Next slide. All right, now I would like to talk a little bit about the program guidelines and the qualifications for admission into Innovation Place. What a tenant goes through in order to become a tenant in Innovation Place. So the qualifications to become a tenant in Innovation Place, you first have to either be a startup company or a semi-established business that's currently operating or has an agreement that they will operate within Hardee County. They must have sufficient capital to carry forward an established business plan, get that business plan to a solid state. They need to complete an application and provide all of the sort of supporting documents that come along with that. They also are required to be vetted by the business manager and the Small Business Development Center. And then they will also have to provide financial projections that show sufficient revenues. They also need to show their employment opportunities, what job creation is going to come out of this company. We would like to obviously give priority to Hardy County businesses, and we will be looking for companies that are sustainable, that have a sustainable future as well as a sustainable product going out into the marketplace, the environmental impact, and of course, the number of jobs created out of this incubation. When they begin the application process, they will submit the completed application with their financial analysis as well as their business plan, and then they will need to schedule an in-person meeting with the incubator manager and the Small Business Development Center to go over and review that application. The incubator manager will then take that application, they will begin to look at the business plan, they will begin to review the viability of that company, the product that they have intentions of creating, the job creation that they have predicted, and the market research within that application in that particular tenant's company. They will want to meet with all of the principals of the company, review their financial resources, the business plan analysis, the product, and the industry that this company is looking to go into. After that, they will schedule a meeting with the admissions committee, and all of the above documents will be provided to the admissions committee for review and analysis prior to the meeting. Now, the admissions committee, they will take that application, they will take the business plan, they will review it, analyze it, make a formal decision on that tenant or prospective tenant, and they will then take that decision finally to the IDA board. Next slide. When they have that initial tenant meeting, these are some of the areas that will be touched on. A strategic plan that spans over 3 years of the life of that company will be done. It will include marketing, sales, product development, and strategy development. We'll also be looking at assisting them with their leadership skills that they need to obtain, the business model validation, and the strengthening of that business model to make sure that it is up to speed. We'll look at their growth strategy and not only just looking and helping them to create what their growth strategy pattern will look like, but we will also assist them in implementing that. And then an exit strategy will also be created, because at some point the idea of the incubator is for these companies to grow to the point that they outgrow the incubator, they no longer need the subsidized assistance, that they are viable enough to go out on their own into the community. Hopefully they will purchase or lease their own building. They will hire employees within the community and outside the community who will then relocate to the community. And so at that point, an exit strategy on teaching them how to do that and do it successfully will be done. The staff and management development, we will work on that with them as well. Any staffing needs that they may have, we can help them recruit staff, help them train staff, and develop those staff members into trained employees. Now, financing is another area. Clients who come into the incubator may be looking for outside financing, whether that's in the form of an EDA grant or conventional banking or some sort of SBDC loan or something of that nature. We can help them facilitate that process and go through whatever application process is necessary for that. Then we get to the exit strategy. So once the company has spent their time in Innovation Place and has received the training and the mentoring needs that they need to make their business successful, we will begin to start planning for their exit. So each company obviously will be different. Not every company is going to exit at the exact same time. It'll be done on a case-by-case basis individually with each tenant. Each tenant will have quarterly meetings that they will go through, and we will review their progress. They will meet with the different boards, the mentoring boards, and kind of build a framework of how their company is progressing. Now, a tenant at Innovation Place will be expected to exit at some point. This is not a long-term situation. You cannot keep this as your home forever. We want you to exit. And side note, we want companies that want to exit. We don't want companies to come into Innovation Place that want to be squatters. We want companies that have the drive and ambition that they're not going to want to stay in Innovation Place very long. They're going to want to go out into the world themselves and be successful. So in helping them do that, they need to have met a couple of criteria in order to make that exit. One is that they have grown to the employee level that their original contract has stated, or that they have sufficient sales and profitability that has been achieved, and the tenant could be successful outside on their own and have enough capital to make that happen. Now, we want to also note, though, that records show 2 years of profitable operations and 2 years of growing sales. Such performance will be considered to constitute achievement of the second graduation criteria. So there are a couple of and/ors in this equation. Next slide. The incubator manager will then be responsible for making those recommendations to the IDA board that this particular tenant has met those criteria and is at the point that they are ready to go out into the marketplace on their own. We want to make note that tenants will be allowed to stay past the 3-year stipulations under certain guidelines. We're not necessarily on year 3 anniversary going to kick them out immediately and say, go forth. You do have the opportunity to remain in an Innovation Place after those 3 years, but some requirements will be put in place for that tenant to do so. Those would be that you would be there on a month-to-month basis with agreement that the subsidized services that the incubator was once offering that tenant to help to grow that business, that tenant would now be purchasing those services from Innovation Place. So
Does that include the raw material purchase?
it absolutely does. And we'll talk about that in just a second. So once the tenant is at that 3-year mark, we will basically take it on a case-by-case basis, put together some new lease type of agreement with that tenant that lays out what they're going to do in that space, the services that they will be paying for, the rent that they would be paying for the space, and those particular items. Next slide. Is that the end? Okay. So, particular to the raw materials, we can talk about that a little bit right now. We are under the assumption and have put in place within Innovation Place that the tenants should pay for raw materials no matter what, even at their first stage. They have to have some skin in the game and have some investment within their product. So they would be responsible for paying for raw materials at cost. Now at year 1, they may not pay cost plus X, but as the time goes on, we would continue to increase that amount that they would pay for raw materials. But the incubator itself should be responsible for purchasing those raw materials and then invoicing that out to the tenant as they need to fill product. That's the end of the presentation. If you have any questions, we can take that at this point.
You made a statement during your presentation. We would like to give priority to Hardy businesses. What does that mean?
That we're going to give priority to Hardy County people.
That's all it means? That means that people from out of the county can come in here and use this on our dime.
Okay, so,
That's what
let's
I'm
talk
asking.
about that.
That's what I'm asking.
All right. So there are two aspects to Innovation Place. One is an incubator that, again, takes a company from the very beginning stages, grows that company. They receive subsidized services. The other aspect is that we happen to have within this incubator a fill line.
I understand the fill line thing. I agree that the fill line, anybody wants to pay to come in there from wherever, they can use it. I agree with that. I understand that.
Perfect.
It's what you,
Okay,
the other
so
part.
if a tenant comes to us from Orlando, Clearwater, that is looking to start a company and has the idea, has a product, and wants to become a part of Innovation Place, then that board and this board would have the opportunity to decide if they would like for them to become a tenant. Now, with that being said, the goal obviously would be to take that company from Clearwater and bring it to Innovation Place, grow and foster it, and exit it out of the incubator. And then that company from Clearwater, their address then becomes Hardy County, Florida. And they have hired X number of employees, and they're now a business located here.
I agree with that. But how are you going to guarantee that they're going to stay here? I mean, what does that mean that their business is here? Does it mean their manufacturing process is here, or just an office downtown with one person? Then they take their manufacturing and move it back to Clearwater. What does that mean, that their business stays here?
Well, I think it would be different, obviously, for every business. We've actually talked with Ken about this, and we have determined through Ken that we can put some stipulations in place for them to remain. And so that would obviously be done on a case-by-case basis. I would not be the person making that decision, you would. So however you would like to structure that agreement with that company would be completely up to the board.
Okay, that's another question. Is this something that we're gonna vote on, but we're not gonna do it today?
Vote on what today?
This plan? Because I have a bunch of questions. And just because I ask a lot of questions doesn't mean that I'm against it. I just think that these things shouldn't be come up here and everybody be silent and vote yes when they're told and vote no when they're told. You know, and I'm going to continue to do that. You know, I like to know the ins and outs of these things, and I try to ask good, pertinent questions. And I'm going to continue to do that. And I'm just wondering, I know Gene needs to go by noon today. And I'm just wondering if the EDA had a workshop on this, right?
Yes, they did.
And they didn't approve theirs, they're gonna have another workshop.
Today's presentation was not for any voting. This was
Okay.
just